said earlier on, you see the jeans is old and the material is all ripped off. So you want to get rid of this to get the proper shape of the bag. Put it on the table, like this. Make sure you get this point right. Take a piece of chalk and then mark it. Put it down properly and then draw a straight line to the other edge of the material. You can do a thick drawing so you wouldn't have to draw on the other side too. This is what it's going to look like when you have the drawing. Now you fold it like this, put it on the table, and then hit. The reason why I do this so that you can get the exact marking on the other side. This also helps you to get the measurements right, so one side will not be bigger than the other. Put it back on the table again and then cut right through. You can leave about ½ an inch after the marking, so that will be the allowance for the material when you're finished with the sewing. There you go. Cut right through. Okay, one piece is out and you do the other part again. It's done. You have two different pairs. Don't throw them because this is what you're going to use to do the handles for the bag. Now, I'll just fold them neatly, open my drawer, put it in there until I need them. After doing the cutting, this is what it looks like. You can see you have one open edge and another open edge. Most of the time, this part is open, but you can still leave it there because it's going to make it look fashionable and it will look like a short bag. At the same time, it will also look like a bag that has pockets on both sides. The next step, turn the material inside out. As you can see, the cutting wasn't equal, so I'll just use my scissors and then snip a little material off it to make it as equal as the other side is. There you go. This is exactly what you'll have. Now, here is where the importance of your needle and thread comes in, because I'm going to use this to do a stitching right through from this part right down to the other edge. As I said earlier on, if you have a sewing machine at home, it's always better to use that because the stitching is stronger and then it's closer. Now I'll just do a fast stitching because of time, but when you're doing it at home, make sure you take your time and do a strong neat stitching from one edge to another. As usual, when sewing, you do a strong stitch at the edge first. Make it strong. Go back in again. Now, we go back to our usual in and out sewing that we do every time on the DIY show. You go in and out, in and out. And out. And then pull. You go back in to the other edge. Now, this is the reason why I told you that you're needing tacking pins, because you will realize that when you start the sewing, there's every possibility that one side of the material will go down and the other one will be shorter. So this is where you get the pins. Pin them equally and make sure that it all sticks in place. Right through and then pull. Turn it on the other side. Make sure this time around when you're going back in, you see, you have the thread, space, thread, space. Now when you're going back again, this one goes in and you put it in so it will cover the space where there is no thread. This is how it goes. Always remember, if you make it smaller, it can stay longer because it makes the seam really, really, really strong, and then it would not be that easy for it to go out. You got me blown like a saxophone. Get onto my zone, get the action on. You can't feel alone when you're back at home. Back at home. Nobody ever got that. Like you got me from a waterfall, baby. Ooh, I got a mindset. I'm gonna take you everywhere, baby. Tonight. Get low. Get low. There you go. Now, if you look at the sewing I've been doing, it's all finished now. I sewed right through from one edge to the other. Now let's turn it inside out. After the turning is over, this is what you have. If you look properly, you realize that it's already starting to look like the case of a bag. Now I'm going to put this aside and we'll start working on the handle for the bag. What I'm going to do is I'll show you how to do one handle, and then after that the choice is going to be yours. If you decide to do two handles for the bag, you just use the same method as is going to be shown here and then attach it at two different places. But for the purpose of this demonstration, I'll just do one handle and then you decide what you want to do after that. You use your scissors. Look at the side that has the seam and then cut right through. What you do, cut again. Always look at the best part of the material where you have less stains, less ruffles, and then less rags, to make sure that the handle is neat, because I can say the handle is actually the most important part of the bag, because when the bag is heavy, a strong handle is actually what is going to save you. So if you have this piece, you're going to fold it. After the folding, this is what you have. Now, remember I told you from the start that you'll be needing a tape measure. What you're going to do with this is you put the tape line on one side and then put the other one on the other side. Then you have 30. This is for those of you who want to do two handles for the bag. So when you're measuring the other one to do the second handle, you'll make sure that it's actually 30 inches and then one is not bigger than the other. You start from here. And then sew. I'll say this again, if you have a machine at home, don't hesitate to use the sewing machine because it's always better. And then you can make a smaller seam out of it all the time. Got dreams, a matter of fact, and that scene got killed, and I done act. Money drop that like a drop top. I be cock back like a top back. Call it top night, take the top off. Let me top on, get your clap on. Get my Mac on, I'm in that zone. Ma, you got me blown like a saxophone. Get onto my zone, get the action on. You can't feel alone when you're back at home. Back at home. Nobody ever got that. Like you got me from a waterfall. Okay, there we go. It's finished now. Before you cut the thread, pull it and make sure that it's well straightened. Do a last knot on the edge.